Hello there, this is Bob Alm, um, uh, creator of a Minetest mod called Cellular Automata. I've just installed Minetest here, and we're just going to go through the basics of starting a game here in case you're new to Minetest. We're going to check off creative mode, and we're going to make a new world. We'll just call it demo or something. I leave all this stuff the same. You can play with it though. So for mods in Minetest, for a while now there has been an in-game mod store kind of thing. You get to there from this Find More Mods button. You can see I don't have anything installed right now except the default game stuff. So I'm going to click Find More Mods, and I'm going to type in Automata. And I'm going to hit search, and the first result there is the one by me. There are other Automata mods in the store, but we're just going to hit this one. It's installed, and it's not required for the mod, but it is really handy to have to do some of the things in this mod. We're going to add world edit, which is a fun mod by itself for creating shapes and copying and pasting your creations. So we just click add there. Then we go back to the menu. Now we have to activate these or enable them. So they're enabled now. Now we can hit save. And then we can play the game. Again, make sure creative mode is checked off. I'm going to disable damage actually, because sometimes I fall. Alright. So, in Minetest, one of the first things you want to do with a mod like this, world edit, or if you're doing this kind of stuff, you're going to want to be able to fly around. So, first thing we have to do is hit /, and we have to grant ourselves the privileges to do that. So if you're the only person in a single player game, you can type grant single player all. If you're in a multiplayer game, you can't use single player, you have to type your name in. So you can see there we got all the privileges that we want. Another thing I'm going to do is we're going to make it so that time doesn't pass, because it really sucks when things get dark when you're doing this kind of stuff. So we're going to say set time_speed 0. So now things should not change. The sun should not go down. So to fly in Minetest, you have to hit K, the letter K. You can see fly mode enabled, and I'm also going to hit H, which is no clip mode, and J, which is fast mode. So you can see right away it's a lot easier to get around and get a sense of the world that you're in with fast flying, and no clipping allows us to fly into structures like I'm doing right there. So what this mod is more of an experimental mod that allows you to bring cellular automata into the world and watch them grow. It's kind of a mod where you make cool patterns and that for their own sake, and it's not so much that you're going to be able to do anything useful with this mod or incorporate it into a form of gameplay. It's kind of educational and just for fun. So hit I for inventory, and because of the alphabetical sorting here, I think that's why, but the Automata mod block and remote control are the first two things there. So we're going to drag those down into our active inventory. So we're not going to use the block right now. That's for another video, but everything you do with this mod is with this remote control device here. So what we're going to do is you're going to use the remote control with the left click, which brings up this form. So at the top you can see we have 1D, 2D, and 3D, and then we have something called import and something called manage. So today we're just going to focus on maybe 1D Automata. A 1-dimensional automata is a simple program, basically a programmable block that grows based on the rules about how many neighbors it has and whether their neighbors are on or off. So there's a whole book written about this by Wolfram Science called NKS, New Kind of Science. So he explores one-dimensional automatas exhaustively, and you can get ideas from his book on which rules to use. So, for example, here we have our spot where we can put our rules. So his favorite rule is Rule 30. Now, there's actually quite a few options for one-dimensional automata because you can define which direction they're going to grow in. So we are facing positive X. You can see we get our location and which way we're facing at the top here. So we're going to make the growth axis go in the direction that we're facing. You can make it go up, down, backwards, left, right, whatever you want. So we're going to say the growth axis is X. And we're going to make the calculation axis Z so that it's Z is side to side from where we're facing right now. So it will be a flat plane going off into the distance that we're facing. Now, automata don't have to grow. They don't have to leave a trail. But 1D automata aren't very interesting. Maybe I'll just show you what it looks like if we leave this blank and all these blank. And we'll just do it for 20 generations. And you'll see we can start here from a single cell. If we had placed a bunch of automata blocks, we'd have another button here called activate. So we could activate those blocks. That allows you to make your own starter initial conditions and see how they play out. But we're just going to start, as Wolfram does most of the time, with a single cell. So I'm just going to hit single, and it starts. I have to back up a little, but you can see it did some blinking and some stuff like that, and actually these should have disappeared. I'm not sure why these didn't disappear. So anyway, it's not very interesting. But what we can do is we can make it grow into the distance by giving it a grow distance of 1. And we'll do, default dirt as a trail block. Now we'll start it again as a single cell, and you can see how it grows. So that was only 20 generations. If you want to extend what you've done in any pattern, we call this a pattern, I guess, in the mod, you can hit manage and you can add generations here. Well, let's add another 20 generations, and we can double click the second pattern and hit escape, close the form, and you'll see that it grows for another 20 generations. So this is Wolfram's Rule 30, which makes a very distinct pattern that you would recognize if you read his book. So what we're going to do is we're going to start another one, another pattern, right at the same spot. We're going to stand on this block here. But this time we're going to make the calculation axis be vertical in the y-axis. In Minetest, as in many other games, the y-axis is your vertical axis for up and down. So we're going to click our remote control and go to 1D, and we're going to change the main axis to y. And this time we're going to set destructive so that existing trees and blocks and the existing pattern that we've made doesn't interfere with the calculation of it. We're going to leave it as dirt, and we're going to do 40 generations right off the bat so that it matches the last one. And we're going to leave that as Rule 30. We're going to hit a single cell and instantly move out of the way. And you can see it growing. Now we have kind of a double pattern here of Rule 30. Just kind of interesting. So that's the beginnings of a series of tutorials I'll do with this mod, but keep them short. So that's what we're going to leave off as. You can play around with that. You can try different rule numbers. Maybe go to Wolfram has his book online for free, NKS, and he has pictures of what different rule numbers create. I'll just quickly show you one more thing. The 8 rules is an explicit way of setting your rules. So if we click this is Rule 30 as the explicit 8 different rules. To understand this, you might want to read Wolfram's book, but basically the conditions are the middle X is the current block that you're looking at, and then you have the block to the left and the block to the right. Whether they're on or off changes the state to either on or off, X being on, O being off. So here we have these 4 being checked off. And if we wanted to change this and check maybe this one or this one, and we could say convert, that'll change that to Rule 62. And if you want to see how that plays out, if it does, not everything will grow from a single cell, but let's just try it out. Okay, so that's 62. It's a different pattern. And you can see it grow, and it's finished. When a pattern's finished, it says finished. You get a little message that says your pattern hit its generation limit. If it dies out early, it'll tell you it died out early. You can't resume one that dies out. There's nothing to resume from. But anyways, we're going to call it quits for this video, and we'll come back and we'll do a little bit more with 2D Automata.